Hello, welcome to episode 205 of Daryl Show Your Work. In this episode, I'll be conducting AI model log analysis with the Kibana dashboard. All right, so before I get started, I believe I may have misspoken in my last video when I said that that day was the last day of INE's flash sale, where actually it's today. All right, so just a reminder of what that includes. That's 30% off of the majority of their test vouchers, except for the ICCA cloud computing certification, and then $200 off of premium access to their, and I'm not sure what the subscription, that may be the annual subscription. $200 off of that for their full learning path. All right, there's premium access to everything. All right, that's red teaming, blue teaming, pen testing, system administration, digital forensics. All right, and then it's $100 off if you just want to access to just the junior pen testing and cloud computing certification learning pass. All right, so to take full advantage of that, go to get.ine.com/Daryl, and you'll see that when you go in there, you'll see the 30% off, flash sale information. All right, and then to be able to take advantage of those $200 off discounts or $100 off discounts, you'll have to use the promo codes at checkout that I'm going to provide in the show notes below, along with the link of how to navigate there. All right. So without any further ado, let's jump into this. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to prompt the Medassist AI chatbot here. All right, just to be able to generate some logs, or well, generate a log on the back end for Elasticsearch. All right, which is our logging database, and so that's going to be able to create a log for us to then be able to evaluate later. So I'm just going to simply type in, what are my benefits? All right. I was just waiting for that to come back. Was generate some generate a log. Okay. So I'm not necessarily concerned with the response here. All right. That's out of the scope of the purpose of this episode. All right. I'm more concerned with just generating this response so we then have that log within Elasticsearch. So if I go here, all right, and open up the Medassist dash app folder and go into the source code. I'm gonna open that with mousepad, and let me make navigating this here a bit easier. I'm gonna add some line numbers. All right, so from here, I'm gonna be tracing the data flow. All right, and by tracing the data flow in AI applications such as this, it helps to build an understanding of data handling from the input to the output. All right, so I'm going to scroll down to where we have the API endpoints um, recorded here within the source code, and go through each of those steps. All right, to be able to start again tracing the data flow. All right, so step one of that right here. All right, so from here um, uh, we can hold on. I think I may have gone to the wrong place. Okay, no, I'm at the right place. Sorry about that. All right, so we can see here that the first step of the AI model is to retrieve the chunks variable, which is set to retrieve context, and then parentheses record dot message. All right, so I'm going to take this receive context, and let's see where that's defined here within the source code. So I'm gonna copy that and do a Control F, and that's going to enable me to basically do a search here for that term within the source code and bring me to where that's being defined. All right, so on line 74, we can see that the description of the chunks variable reads retrieve relevant documents from Chroma DB. All right, so that lets us know exactly what it does. But then going to line 82, Okay. All right. So the user message, it gets sent to the Llama LLM via that API embeddings endpoint. And then on line 83, the embedding model, nomic embed dash text, is used to generate vector embedding. All right, so if I go further down to line 91, all right, here, all right, so from there, the embedding is used to query the Chroma DB connection called HR documents, which we saw in the prior video. All right, and then jumping down to line, okay, 98. All right, so here, so it returns a list of 3 dictionaries, and those dictionaries are content, source, and sensitivity. All right, so let's go to step 2. All right, of what the AI model does. All right, so highlighting it here, line 167. All right, we can see that the second step that of the AI model is to query the LLM, and that the response variable is set to query underscore LLM. So let's see how this variable is defined. All right, so I have the same similar to what I did on the step 1, which retrieve context. I'm going to copy this and search for it within the source code. So, all right, so let's just copy over this and define, and then hit enter, and it's going to take me to the next place where that's listed, and that brings me to line 113. So we can so from here, all right, we can see that the other user prompt, content chunks, and the session ID are being combined into a single prompt string, and that's defined here. All right, that's combining those 3 elements. And then from lines 122 to 129, all right, everything that I have highlighted here, all right, the full prompt. This is the full prompt, and it's defined. If we look at the first line here, if that's highlighted as full prompt. So this whole thing is being defined as full prompt. So basically everything that's captured here, when we look at the logs, it's going to show up with everything that's contained here. All 3 of those elements that have been combined are going to show up under full prompt, and that's including the system prompt as well. All right. So going down to line 131 right here. All right. So the message is then posted to the Olama endpoint via the API generate endpoint, and then jumping down to line 143 through 146. All right. So these are the messages that are displayed when in the case of an exception. All right. So when there's some sort of something, let's say that a user asks something that's out of scope, all right, then they're going to get a response saying, I'm sorry, I couldn't generate a response. Or if there is some sort of technical issue going on the back end, all right, it's going to say, I'm experiencing technical difficulties. Please try again. And we can see how the exception is defined as E here on line 144. All right. And then it's associating that with a logging error. Okay, so that's how that's handled. So going back down here finally to line, it looks like 170. All right, I want to highlight all of this. All right, and scroll up a bit more just so it's clear. All right, so we can see that the last step of the AI model is to log the following parameters to excuse me to the Elasticsearch database to verify. And what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna verify to see if all of these variables are being captured. So what I should be seeing when I visit the logging database is I should be able to see not only these variables, but also their values. All right. So what, when it says like event, I should be able to see what the actual event is. So I should be able to see the session ID, the user prompt, system prompt. All of those elements I should be able to see in the log database. So remember though, I can't directly access the Elasticsearch log database. So I'm actually going to access the Kibana user interface, because that serves as a user interface for Elastic Search DB. All right. And that is being hosted, I believe, on port um, 5601. So let's navigate there. And I'm going to open up a new tab to do that. So I'm going to say HTTP. Forgot to put my slashes. All right, and I'm gonna just replace this with 5601. All right, so we can see that it's taking us into the Kibana interface, but again, no authentication, which is a huge security no-no. But again, that's out of scope of what it is that that I want to show here in this video. All right, so to be able to first I need to actually create a data view, and by creating a data view, that should populate all of the information types into fields. All right, and then from there I'm going to create an analytics view to then show those values. But first, let's go down a bit in this menu to stack management. All right, and then within stack management, I am going to go to the data views on the Kibana, and I'm going to go to create data view. Click on that button, and so I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna keep it simple and simply name it med assist, and then I'm gonna name this, keep it equally as simple, medassist dot dash log, and then the timestamp I'm gonna leave it as is. All right, and I'm gonna save data view. So let's see if it populates those. All right, and it does. All right, so we can see here, for example, we can see uh, database connection here. We can see event here. All right, and let's see if we can find some other of those variables we saw under the log section of the source code. All right, we can see the Olama request host. All right, we can see the retrieve chunks. All right, so now that I've verified that the information types are being represented here as fields. Now let's see if we can see the actual values that is captured. The way we're going to be able to see those values is by having it to pull those values from the log that I generated in the very beginning when I queried when I first queried the chatbot medassist AI. All right, so going back here to the menu here on the analytics, I'm going to go to discover. All right, so here under discover, it's going to actually generate that page for me. So just jumping back here just to explain what's going on here. All right, and I jumped in the wrong thing. All right, jumping back here. All right, so the information that's been the information on the left here, that's been populated as fields in the data view. All right, so the actual details are going to be present in the analytics pane. All right, and again, it's pulling that from that log that I generated from that response that I got from the Meta Assist AI in the very beginning. All right, so let's jump back here. All right, so we got our log. All right, so this is the log that was generated from that response. All right, so we can see the Postgre SQL database credentials. All right, and along with the API key next to internal API key. All right, again, not necessary. I mean, it's not necessarily bad to have that hard coded, but when you combine them with other issues such as a lack of authentication, like here to this dashboard or to some certain APIs, that's when it becomes problematic, because then it's clearly viewable to users or unauthorized users, like we saw at the end of the previous video. But moving on. All right, so we can also see the model response. All right, right here. All right. So that is the full response it gave me. So it says, welcome to Health First Corp Internal. So if I go back here, that should match what we're seeing here, which it is. All right. So it lets me know that it's working as far as pulling the information in from that log. All right. So it also, we can also see where where the model is being hosted. All right. So that's that internal address here, along with the port, or that 11434 port. All right. And then going further down, we can see the retrieved chunks. All right, so next to where it says retrieve chunks are the chunks that the RAG retrieves from the vector database. All right, so this is what it looks like when it takes the certain information and it saves it as chunks, which we can see. We can actually see employee names. We can see social security numbers. We can see salary band. That is not good. All right, so again, so I mean, if I'm like an administrator and I have access to see this, then fine. I'm trusted to see that. But remember, there was no authentication here. All right. So if a regular user knows their way around Kibana, or an unauthorized user knows their way around Kibana and knows how to retrieve this information, where they gain access to, PII and other private information, such as, you know, um, how much people are getting paid, and employee IDs and things like that, and then also what activities they done, because it tells you here what activities they done. That's pretty scary. All right, so scrolling down a bit more. All right, so we can see the retrieve sources. So these are the retrieve sources that are contained within that RAG collection. All right, the collect that HR documents collection. And remember, when querying the chat box, we could see these documents listed in plain view. If I go back here to the chat box, just to refresh everybody's memory here, that should not be the case. All right. All right. So and then going down, we can see the session ID here, and then we can see the full system prompt. All right, which still, if we remember from the previous video, it still lists out that API key, and it also gives hints as far as what employees have the ability to do what. So the API key, we know, is a problematic when it comes to authentication, but when it comes to, like, it's telling us things like manager level queries, can be used to access pay salary band data. All right, or when it tells us that if we wanted to escalate claims to route the call to the benefits team, then it has the extension here. Again, it lets somebody who wants to do something nefarious. It lets them know what means to go about, when it comes to social engineering. So who to target when it comes to social engineering. So whether that looks like targeting a manager as far as trying to get access to pay band information, or trying to over the phone vishing, or whatever may have you, trying to get benefits information, as far as what employee has what benefits, things of that nature, things they shouldn't have access to. This gives them that information, as far as or at least some hints as far as who to target for that. So that is not a good thing. And the overall conclusion that you could draw from this analysis, looking at these logs, is that there is an overlogging of sensitive data. All right, so this is just an example. This brings me to the end of my video, but this is just an example of how accessing these logs can enable a AI security specialist or just a security personnel in general, how that can enable us to look at the details, analyze it, and make some judgment calls as far as what needs to be fixed before a full rollout of a product like this, and what things they need, what things that the developers may need to tighten up. And then also looking at the source code again, it just helps us to understand the data flow and what happens to that input before it's outputted here to the logs. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work, and please remember to take advantage of INE's final day of their flash sale. Again, that's 30% off all of their certifications, with the exception of the ICCA cloud specialist certification. That's $200 off, a premium access to the full learning library of red team, blue team learning pass, and that's $100 off if you just want access to the foundational paths, such as for the EJPT junior penetration testing certification, which I highly recommend. It's a good starting point if you're looking to go that route, or just want that knowledge as a tool set under your belt, or the ICCA um, a cloud certification learning path, which again I highly recommend if you just want exposure to using all three major cloud platforms, which is AWS, Azure when it comes to Microsoft, and GCP, Google Cloud platform. But until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.